Look at the glasses on your face, or the sunglasses on your desk. Ray-Ban, Oakley, Chanel, Prada, Persol. You think you chose between them. You didn't. Because almost all of them are made by the same company, in the same factories, and sold to you in stores that same company owns. That frame you paid $300 or $400 for? It can cost as little as $8 to make, up to 20 times its cost. And the reason you paid it isn't a mystery. It's a strategy built deliberately over 60 years by a man who started his life in an orphanage. This is the story of how a boy nobody wanted grew up to own the way the world sees, and how, right at the top, a single act of revenge revealed exactly how the whole empire really works. Start in the mountains of northern Italy, in a town called Agordo. It's 1961. A 26-year-old named Leonardo Del Vecchio opens a small workshop with 14 employees. He isn't dreaming of luxury. He's making metal parts, tiny screws and frames for other people's eyeglasses. Del Vecchio knew what it was to have nothing. His father died before he was born. His mother, a widow with 5 children, couldn't afford him, so she gave him to an orphanage. He grew up making tools in a factory as a boy, and he came out of it with one obsession. He did not want to make parts for someone else's product ever again. He wanted the whole thing. So he did something almost no eyewear company did. He stopped selling components and started making the entire pair of glasses himself. Frame, hinge, finish, brand, and then he asked the question that would rebuild the entire industry. Why sell the glasses to a store when I could own the store? Here's the thing about glasses most people never think about. They aren't sold like other products. You don't compare them online for weeks. You walk into a shop, an expert hands you a frame, and you trust them. Whoever controls that shop controls the sale. Del Vecchio understood that better than anyone. Through the 1990s, Luxottica went from making frames to buying the places that sold them. In 1995, it took over the parent company of LensCrafters, the biggest optical chain in America. In 2001, it bought Sunglass Hut, those little kiosks in every mall, over 3,000 of them. Then Pearl Vision, then Target Optical. And it didn't stop at the stores. Luxottica moved into vision insurance too, through a company called Eyewear, one of the largest vision plans in the United States. Think about what that means. The company could now make your frames, own the brand on them, own the store you bought them in, and own the insurance that decided what you were covered for. Every step of the sale pointed back to the same building in Italy. But a factory and a chain of stores don't make people want to overpay. For that, Del Vecchio needed something else. He needed names. In 1988, Luxottica signed a licensing deal with Giorgio Armani, and a light went on. Fashion houses were brilliant at making people crave a logo, but they had no idea how to manufacture eyewear. Luxottica could make the glasses. The fashion house just lent its name, both sides won, and the customer paid for the name. One by one, the biggest names in fashion handed their eyes to Luxottica. Chanel, Prada, Versace, Burberry, Dolce & Gabbana, Ralph Lauren, Tiffany, Coach, more than 150 brands. Walk down a sunglasses wall and read the names: Chanel, Prada, Versace, Ralph Lauren, and understand they are competitors in name only. Backstage, they're the same company, in the same factory, setting the same prices. And then, in 1999, Luxottica bought the crown jewel outright. Ray-Ban was an American legend, the aviator, the wayfarer, the sunglasses of presidents and movie stars. But by the late 90s, it was fading. Its owner, Bausch and Lomb, had cheapened it. You could buy Ray-Bans at a gas station for around $20. The frames were flimsy. The magic was gone. Luxottica bought Ray-Ban in 1999 for about $640 million. And then it did the opposite of what you'd expect. It raised the price. It pulled Ray-Ban out of gas stations, cut the cheap production, and slowly walked the price back up. $100, $200 a pair. It made the brand feel rare again. And it worked. Ray-Ban went from nearly worthless to the anchor of the entire empire. That was the lesson Del Vecchio had learned in that orphanage, turned into a business model. Control the product, control the store, control the name, and scarcity becomes something you can manufacture. But there was still one company that refused to play along. And what happened to it is the moment the mask slipped. Oakley was everything Luxottica wasn't. Loud, American, athletic, the sunglasses of extreme sports. And crucially, Oakley was a rival that made its own great products and sold a huge share of them through Sunglass Hut, which Luxottica had just bought. So Luxottica made Oakley an offer that wasn't really an offer, except much lower wholesale prices, it said, or else. Oakley said no. And Luxottica did something that showed the whole industry who held the power. It pulled Oakley off the shelves, out of Sunglass Hut, out of its stores. The company that owned the shelves simply took a rival's product off them. For Oakley, it was a catastrophe. Losing that much of your retail overnight is losing your air supply. Oakley's stock fell hard. The message to every other brand was unmistakable. You do not fight the company that owns the store. And then came the final move. In 2007, with Oakley weakened, Luxottica bought it for $2.1 billion. The rival that dared to say no was now just another brand on Luxottica's shelf. Same glasses, same wall, same owner. The war was over because there was no one left to fight. By now, Luxottica owned the frames, the brands, the stores, and the insurance. There was only one piece of the puzzle it didn't control: the lenses, the actual glass that goes inside. So in 2018, Luxottica merged with Essilor, the French company that dominated the world's lens business in a deal worth around $50 billion. The new giant was called Essilor-Luxottica, and with it, the circle finally closed. One company now touched almost every part of how the world sees. From the lens, to the frame, to the brand, to the shop, to the plan that paid for it. Today, Essilor-Luxottica pulls in over $26 billion a year. It employs more than 200,000 people across 150 countries and runs on the order of 18,000 stores. By some estimates, it controls more than half of the eyewear market in the United States. The orphan from Agordo became one of the richest men in Italy, worth around $24 billion when he died in 2022. So is the story over? Not quite. Because empires built on manufactured scarcity have one weakness: the moment someone shows the customer the real price. In 2010, 4 business school students, tired of paying $700 for frames, started a company called Warby Parker. Their idea was almost insultingly simple: design the glasses themselves, skip the middlemen, sell them online, and charge $95. The same kind of frame the empire sold for hundreds. And people noticed, because once you've seen the $8 frame behind the $400 price, you can't unsee it. Leonardo Del Vecchio spent his life proving one idea: that the most valuable thing in business isn't making the product, it's controlling every step between the product and you. He turned a pair of glasses into an empire not by inventing something new, but by owning everything you'd have to pass through to buy it. So the next time you pick up a pair of sunglasses and turn the price tag over, Ray-Ban, Oakley, Chanel, it doesn't matter. Remember that the choice in your hand was designed to feel like a choice, and that somewhere, an orphan who was given away built a world where the way you see is something he got to sell you.